name's Jack Byrne. Today we're going to talk about Travis picking. We're going to do a little intro tutorial to that technique. I stumbled upon this style of finger picking by listening to artists like Simon and Garfunkel and Iron and Wine, singer-songwriters like that. But the technique was popularized and named after Merle Travis, who's a bit of an older country guitar player. And it's still used to this day. It's certainly one of my go-to finger pick patterns when I cover songs or when I write my own stuff. So let's dive into it. We're going to start with a really simple Travis picking pattern that we're going to learn in sort of 4 steps. So we're going to start with a C major chord, just your basic C chord. And we're just going to pluck the bass note, the root note. And the key to Travis picking is your thumb is always moving. You're always going to be keeping the downbeats with the thumb. And these are going to be the bass notes. So you're playing a bass line with the thumb, really even downbeats. So we're going to practice just playing the root note of the C chord, and that's on the A string. And we're just going to keep a nice steady beat with that. And this might feel incredibly basic, but it's worth practicing and putting the time in, because this is kind of the foundation for everything with Travis picking. Keeping it really steady and being careful not to hit more than one string at a time. And then once you got that going, we're going to add a second note. We're going to play the G string with the index finger on your right hand. And this is going to be in between the thumb notes on the upbeats. So that sounds like this. You do want to practice each step of this individually just to get kind of used to it. And then once you're comfortable with that, we're going to start alternating the thumb, going back and forth between the A and the D strings. So now we're playing 2 different strings with the thumb. And then once you got that going, we're going to add a 4th note on the fourth note of the pattern, which is going to be the B string with your middle finger. So that goes. So once you get to the end, the full pattern, in terms of the strings, you're going to hit the A string, G string, D string, and then B string, and that's the order of the strings. And the fingers you'll use to do that are thumb, index, thumb, middle. So it's thumb on the A, index finger on the G, thumb on the D, middle on the B. And I have seen some people play where you only use the thumb and pointer finger for all of those notes. So thumb, pointer, pointer. So your pointer finger is moving across different strings. If that works for you, that's totally good. I recommend switching your fingers up. I think you'll be more versatile in the long run if you play that way. But whatever works. So that's the pattern you would play over a C chord. So the next thing we're going to talk about is how to transfer that to different chords. It's pretty much going to be the same, but sometimes the root note of each chord lands on a different string. So if we take, for example, a G chord, our root note is now on the low E string. So that's the note we want to start on in the pattern. But the rest of the pattern will be exactly the same. So we're going to skip over the A string. We're not going to use that at all in this pattern. So let's go through that same cycle we did before, but with a G chord now. So we'll start by just keeping that low bass note going on a steady beat. And let's get our G string on the upbeats using your index finger. Once we got that going, we're going to get the D string involved with the thumb, every other thumb note. So we're skipping over the A string in this case. This can be a little tricky. So this one you might have to practice a little bit more than the other one. But alternating between the E and D strings in this Travis pattern, there's a lot of use out of that. if you're in drop D tuning, for example, you can get some good like octave bass lines going doing that. So there's a lot you can do there. All right, and let's add our fourth note with the middle finger on the B. So any chord that has a root on the A string, like C or A minor or any kind of root 5 bar chord, you would use that first pattern. If the root note is on the E string, you'd use that second pattern. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to try to put together a chord progression and finger pick it using the Travis pattern that we just went over. So the chord progression we're going to use is C, A minor, F, and G. So it's 1, 6, 4, 5 in C. For the F chord, you can either do the bar chord, or sometimes I like to do like a thumb thing. I find that's an easier transition from A minor. I can keep that index finger on during that transition, whatever works for you. But for C, we're going to play the root note on the A string, and then same goes for A minor. So for those two chords, that's the same pattern. And then for F, we're going to the E string root, and then same with G. So two chords that start with the A, two chords that start with the E. And we'll do 2 measures per chord. So that would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Switch to A minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Switch to F, E string with the pattern, 1, 2, 3, and then G, 3, 4, 1, 2. Let's go again. 2, 4, C, A minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, and G. One more time. C, A minor, F, G. So that's that. If you want tabs written out for the exercise we just did, you can go over to my Patreon. The link to that should be down below. Or if you're already on Patreon, the link to the PDF is down below. But I have tabs available for my Patreon subscribers over there. So definitely check that out. But a lot of songs use this picking pattern. The Boxer, Landslide, many early Iron and Wine songs. So there's a lot you can do with it for sure. So it's a great one to practice. You can actually play it over any song, any chord progression, to give it a little bit more of a folky flavor. So it's a fun one to play around with. So check it out and let me know what you think. And if you want to see more tutorials like this, definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel and or the Patreon. And I'll see you next time.